Mr. Speaker, I have a motion to recommit at the desk.
Is the gentlelady opposed to the bill?
Yes, in its current form.
Qualifies. The clerk will read.
Mrs. Bachmann of Minnesota moves to recommit the bill back to the Committee on Armed Services with instructions to report the same back to the House forthwith.
Clerk will suspend. For what purpose does the gentleman from Missouri rise?
I reserve a point of order against the motion to recommit.
Should I?
The point of order is reserved.
It is not germane.
The clerk will read.
Report the same back to the House forthwith with the following amendment. At the end of the bill, add the following new title. Title, Pay Freeze. Section 1, Pay Freeze. A, in general, notwithstanding any other provision of law for purposes of computing compensation for service performed during...
Gentlelady from Minnesota.
I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the reading.
I object.
The reading will continue. Objection is heard.
During fiscal year 2011 and the first quarter of fiscal year 2012, the rate of salary or basic pay for any office or position within the civil service, as defined by Section 2101 of Title V United States Code, shall be deemed to be equal to the rate of salary or basic pay payable for such office or position as of September 30th, 2010.
The clerk will suspend. The gentleman from Missouri.
I ask unanimous consent to dispense with the continuing of the reading.
Is there objection? Objection is heard and ordered.
Mr. Speaker.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Missouri rise?
Make a point of order against this motion as it is not germane, and I insist on my point of order.
Mr. Speaker?
Does any other member wish to be heard on the point of order? The gentlelady from Minnesota.
Mr. Speaker, I ask to be heard on the point of order.
The gentlelady is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the motion to
will be in order. The gentlelady from Minnesota.
Mr. Speaker, the motion to recommit proposes to add a new amendment to the bill freezing the rate of pay for ourselves, members of Congress, and for the non-uniformed federal employees. The amendment relies on the definition of civil service provided in Title V of the United States Code, which covers positions in the executive, the judicial, and the legislative branches. The bill before us contains numerous and repeated references to Title V of the United States Code, yet the gentleman makes a point of order that this amendment is not germane to the bill. Mr. Speaker, the bill before us includes provisions such as the recently adopted Sarbanes Amendment. That amendment then affected the policies of all executive branch agencies, not just the Department of Defense. And on that basis, I believe that the chair will find the provisions of the amendment limiting pay for civilian executive branch employees germane. I also believe that the bill is broad enough to cover judicial employees as well. So, Mr. Speaker, that then leaves the question of ourselves, our pay, and that of non-uniformed federal employees, legislative branch employees. So therefore, Mr. Speaker, I believe it would be improper for the chair to use a point of order for the purpose of protecting the employees of the legislative branch and for the purpose of protecting and shielding we members of Congress from the pay freeze herein being proposed, and that would otherwise be in order for employees of the executive branch. And so, Mr. Speaker, I ask the question, do we really want to go on record saying that the rules of this House should not be used to shield our own members of Congress and also the salaries and also those of the legislative salaries of the non-uniform branch from being fiscally responsible? So, Mr. Speaker, I urge you not to sustain the point of order, because when the average wage and benefit package for government workers is double that of private employees, then we should not use...
The lady from Minnesota will continue to make her statement.
When it is double that of private employees, then we should not use the arcane
I insist
rules.
on my point of order.
Then I am speaking on the point of order, Mr. Speaker.
The gentlewoman is reminded to confine her comments to the point of order.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. We should not use the arcane rules to somehow exempt ourselves as a member of Congress, our own pay increases and that of the non-uniform federal offices from the
Insist on my point of order,
responsibility of
Mr.
tightening our
Speaker.
belt. From the
Mr. Speaker.
responsibility of tightening our belt.
Mr. Speaker, I insist on my point of order.
Does any other member wish to be heard on the point of order?
It is not germane.
Full rule. The gentleman from Missouri makes the point of order that instructions proposed in the motion to recommit offered by the gentlewoman from Minnesota are not germane. The bill broaches a range of subject matters related to both national defense and to general operations of the federal government. This range of subject matters implicates the jurisdiction of several committees. The instructions proposed in the motion to recommit seek to prohibit certain future increases in pay for members of Congress and employees within the federal government. This prohibition, by addressing the legislative branch, involves the jurisdiction of the Committee on House Administration. One of the fundamental principles of germaneness is that an amendment must confine itself to matters within the jurisdiction of the committees with jurisdiction over the underlying bill. To the Chair's knowledge, the underlying bill is devoid of subject matter within the jurisdiction of the Committee of House Administration. Thus, the motion offered by the gentlewoman from Minnesota is not germane. The point of order is sustained.
Mr. Speaker, I appeal the ruling of the chair.
Mr. Speaker.
The question is, shall the decision of the chair stand as the judgment of the House? For what purpose?
Mr. Speaker.
For what purpose the gentleman from Missouri seek recognition?
I move to table the appeal of the ruling of the chair.
The question is on the motion to table. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker,
The
I
gentleman from
request a
Minnesota.
recorded vote.
Recorded vote is requested. A recorded vote has been requested. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. Pursuant to Clause 8 and Clause 9 of Rule 20, this 15-minute vote on tabling the appeal will be followed by 5-minute votes on passage of H.R. 5136 and adoption of H.R. 407, unless sooner followed by further proceedings in recommittal. This is a 15-minute vote.